some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah, hope I get away with it. Oh, doo-dah day.
Hey everybody, welcome to Stupid O'Clock. I'm Joe Dog. Next to me I got Dan. Over there next to him is Scarborough, John Scarborough, the international man of knowledge.
International man of misery.
Yeah. And then down below him is Joe Bachman and Zach Albright from the Launchpad.
Hey, Zach. Zach, just so you know, this is something I learned early on with StreamYard. The way we're arranged on the page is not necessarily the way that you are seeing it.
What?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you're pointing up here at Joe Dog may actually be over here on my screen.
That's the whole point of a digital studio, is so everyone knows where they are. Mm-hmm. StreamYard fix it.
Oh, please. I had to flip my camera so I can see it right, but everybody else sees it backwards.
There's Dan for me.
The way Joe Dog described it, it should be Joe, Dan, me, and then the lower level should be Joe and then Zach. So
that's exactly the way I've got it arranged, but
cool.
I haven't flipped StreamYard. How helicon is that? No, just my camera so that I can see it.
Get out of my yard! Okay, StreamYard. Yeah, that's.
If you're in my yard right now, you better have a good umbrella.
All I'm going to say, guys, is you may want to start watching the Halicon pages tomorrow. We've got a guest announcement.
He has a
biggest guest we've ever had, anyway.
And his guest.
And hey,
to give you a hint, his guest will never give you up and never let you down.
No. Carl is not a guest yet.
Oh, but yeah, Zach, I do need you to hang around after the show tonight.
I didn't do it.
No, you didn't do it, but it's some interesting information on the Starship front.
Ooh, yes, please.
See?
Ooh, I did a bad thing, but you're going to have to wait to find out what the bad thing is, like 2 months, and then you can find out.
Statute of limitations.
Sure.
He's not allowed to talk about it until after the court date. Anyway.
Is it going to take that long for the fart to drift this far?
No. It's going to take that long for me to get it in my hands and on my shelf.
Oh.
One of them things will be sooner than the other. The other will take a couple of months, but.
So we have not had a confirmation of Jared yet?
No, not yet. Sad face. Hopefully next week.
I know.
Now, wait a minute. Not Jared from Subway, right?
No.
Okay, just checking that.
I know Ted Cruz grilled.
He'd make a good president too. But
Who?
Jared.
Yeah.
Not Jared
Well-
from Subway.
No.
Yeah, no.
Hey, I know Ted Cruz grilled him real hard on something.
Oh,
I
yeah, he
mean-
did.
I mean,
He was grilled pretty equally from both sides of the aisle. And yeah, we'll see. He answered the appropriate way. He also answered in a way that he may have ended his sentence, or he may have taken a breath and left the second part of his thought off, which is, I will follow the law as it is written until we change it.
yeah.
For context, the current bylaws of NASA and the funding that NASA gets is we will return to the moon to prepare the technologies to go to Mars. Isaacman's testimony, about 12 times he said, we will go to Mars, we will go to the moon, and we will do the other things. And NASA has the ability to be a self-funded agency. And everyone went, huh? We'd like to know more on that, please.
Yeah, that third phrase actually makes a whole lot of difference.
Because me personally, I always said if I ever became emperor of the United States, and it could happen, one of the things I was going to do was start national lotteries for funding certain government programs. NASA, National Park Service, war memorials, things of that nature. And that way, we already have lotteries for education. Let's have lotteries for some of the other stuff. That way, if you like NASA, you can buy your lottery tickets from NASA. If you like National Park Service, you can buy your lottery tickets from National Park Service. And that funding would go above and beyond their minimum funding, like for extra
You
stuff.
give them a minimum funding, and then everything else is extra.
I think that's one reason why my dad used to buy hunting and fishing permits, even though all he did was fish, because the permit funds went to parks and wildlife preservation and things like that.
They have wildlife, what do they call it? Conservation licenses. And like the wildlife areas here in Tennessee Wildlife Management and Georgia Wildlife Management have shooting ranges that you can go to, like zeroing your rifles or shooting your shotguns or whatever. And all they ask you is to go get the registration. You can buy them at Walmart. So,
well, these were the official photos that got released yesterday. And I don't know when they got pictures of him smiling, because most of the time he was very serious, but apparently it happened. The one thing is his endorsement. On one side of him, he had 6 astronauts, which all he commanded to space in the last 3 years. And on the other side, you can just see them peeking over, was the Artemis 2 crew, who know that SLS is up for cancellation and they might not have a ride to space. But the entire front row of the Senate hearing was all former astronauts and nobody else, or current astronauts and nobody else. And even the chairman had to be like, we have to admit there's a lot of people there's a lot of astronauts here today, which is not normal.
Yes.
Me personally,
But did they come
I'd have had him show up in spacesuits. Helmet and everything.
That would have been a good publicity stunt. We're ready right now.
I think one of the hardest grilling I saw was when the Democratic guy goes, was Elon Musk in the meeting?
Oh, my God. Yeah. It was I can understand why they wanted to know, but it's a want to know in the way of trying to invalidate other things.
Yeah.
And Jared was pretty clear he did not say, I will not answer that. Obviously, you never say that. But he said, I was in an interview with the President of the United States.
With the President-elect of the United States.
No, this was when he was president.
Oh, this was after president?
This was after. This was when he was at Mar-a-Lago after inauguration, when he was officially nominated. And I don't have to tell you anything else that happened in that room. it was a meeting with the President of the United States. Period. Whoever was in that room had nothing to do with it. It was an interview with the President of the United States. And this went on for about 3 minutes of the 5-minute question period from this one senator. And they're like, well, you're not going to tell us if Elon was in the room? It doesn't matter. And it was interesting. I'm trying to find the picture of the poster that they brought up. But the chairman brought up, here it is. I'll screen share this. Brought up this poster that they definitely could have spent a little bit more money on. They used ChatGPT, and I won't actually, okay, zoom out there. What will 2023 look like? And they spent, this was up the entire hearing. And on the left side is Americans landing in some sort of really weird ball spaceship. And on the right is the Chinese landing on something that looks like Starship. And apparently, and he made jokes, apparently ChatGPT can't make bigger American flags, but it can make bigger Chinese flags. But
Of course.
he directly said, if you're admin, will you promise that the right side of this thing won't happen? Jared's mic drop answer is, Senator, I don't see the right side of that poster. And I was like, oh, okay. So I thought I knew Jared would be prepared. He was far more prepared than I was expecting. He was ready. I don't know why he wasn't confirmed, but there you go.
There you go.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing posters like that in the next decade.
There.
Jared's a huge supporter of creating Starfleet. There's a private aviation school in San Francisco that has proposed actually building a academy, and someone tweeted you should call it Starfleet, and that got Jared Isaacman's attention a few months ago, and they were like, let's do it. And then Trump responded, sounds like a good idea to me. So
you know, in the Star Trek universe, Starfleet is in San Francisco. The Starfleet headquarters and academy are in San Francisco.
That's why
it's on either end. It's on either end of the Bay Bridge. Headquarters is on the south end.
Isn't it?
The academy's on the north end.
Now, did you see the end of Stargate Atlantis
Yes.
when they flew the cloaked Atlantis city back to, and it landed in the bay in San Francisco?
Spoilers. Yes, I did.
Did you know? Was it? I mean, was that not a homage to Starfleet?
Oh, 100%. That was, look, you're not the only one with a base at San Francisco. My question is, of all places, why San Francisco?
It's got a famous naval tradition. It's centrally located on the west coast of the United States. I mean, it's halfway between Canada and Mexico.
Yeah, but they've never launched a rocket.
Kind of hard to launch them to the west. Takes a lot of Delta V.
Vandenberg does it every week, twice a week sometimes, because they're bored.
Well, and then what's the other one out there that does the polar orbits?
That's Vandenberg.
Vandenberg, okay.
And Florida now.
I'm kind of surprised we don't have a launch facility in Maine. I know the closer to the equator, the better.
Top of the Gulf? Because if you launch south, I'm pretty sure you'd have enough Gulf if you shot between the Yucatan Peninsula before you hit Honduras. There's probably enough water that you could do perfectly polar launches.
Now, another interesting spot, but it would be prone to hurricane. Of course, most launch facilities are prone to hurricanes just because of where they are. Haiti.
SpaceX could buy the whole country.
Well, exactly. That anything you do in Haiti will help the economy, and they're hurting. So
you could get it in a bankruptcy. I mean, seriously.
Well, one thing
and believe it or not, the other half of the island is completely prosperous. Dominican Republic.
Yes, I know.
The others.
Yeah, I've been to the Dominican. It's gorgeous. The thing I've always found interesting is SpaceX has never opened an external country division. Like, and I don't know they ever will, but like SpaceX New Zealand or SpaceX India or something, because that's what Rocket Lab did. Rocket Lab was an American company, realized it'd be harder for them to launch rockets in the States, so they went to New Zealand where it was easier and cheaper, developed them there, proved their technology, now brought them back, proved a couple in the States, and now are doing their bigger rocket out of the States. But they have a huge market in New Zealand for launches, and it's like, SpaceX, you pretty easily, I would think, could replicate your facility in another country. I guarantee you that country would love the influx of money and have another launch site.
Bring that for me, Jeff. Okay. Does this spot down here not look almost like the Space Coast?
It looks like New Zealand. Oh, that part, yeah, that's more Space Coasty. But at the point, it's too marshy. It's not big enough. That's the issue. Not for these size of vehicles. They'd sink in.
All right, good news. They have canceled the
to the left.
Oh, there you go. We have got to have a launch facility at Playa Mongo. Okay, that just smacks of launching rockets right there.
Breaking
launch
news.
Facility at Mongo. Yeah. Mongo launch rockets.
All right, John. Dan's got something to say.
They have canceled the severe thunderstorm alert for my county. Everything is going southeast of us. So until more severe thunderstorms get to us from Tennessee, Lindsay and I are out of danger there. May I address the elephant in the room? My grandson is undergoing treatments. He had one today, which meant that he had no visitors allowed. Hopefully that was the kidney dialysis, because if he doesn't have one within the next 3 days, he's not going to survive. But it was scheduled for a couple of days ago. He had an allergic reaction to something prescribed for him at the hospital, and I'm hoping that all of that has been rectified by now. He's between 36 and 40, okay, grown man. So everybody thinking it's a little child. No, sorry. I have grandchildren that have served 2 tours of duty in the Middle East. All right, I've been around that long. Okay. Yes, I have been very quiet and very non-interactive when I have attended somebody else's shows. It's just the stress is really outrageous and the worry is mind-boggling. I don't know. I'm staying back. Everything is in the hands of other people that are far more qualified to handle the situation than me. And I don't mean just the hospital. I shouldn't go into details on a recorded show. However, I have posted as much information on my Facebook as I dared. So we're in a wait and see and hope for the best. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
All All right, Joe, Zach, of course, John already knows it. I just posted the Facebook announcement of our guest into the private chat.
Oh.
This is on Facebook right now. Am I vague booking?
No, you totally gave away who it is.
It's Rick Astley. I mean, it's
Yeah.
gotta be. It's
And I don't know how you managed to book Martin Lawrence, but
Hey, I get Steve Martin thrown in.
it's a good deal.
No, that's Martin Short. Never mind.
Oh, please, never mind.
aren't they working together these days?
Oh, yeah. They sell out the Memorial Auditorium at $185 a ticket. Memorial Auditorium, Joe, is a almost 4,000 seat auditorium
Hmm.
theater. $185 a pop.
Ooh.
I didn't pay that much for Kansas and Boston. I wasn't even in the nosebleed seats. I didn't pay that much for Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and I was ninth row floor seats.
Yeah.
They were a little impressed that instead of using a lighter for the request for a what's the word? My brain is going 1,000 miles an hour, and my vocabulary is being reduced to that of a 12-year-old. Anyway, you know the part where everybody holds up a lighter in the concert, wanting an encore. That was the word. They walked out, and I was the only one in the audience with a lightsaber. Typical Dan.
Yeah. Now, do you know where that came from?
No, I
Holding
do
up the
not.
lighter?
Mm-mm.
Was that Peter Frampton?
No. Before Frampton.
Okay. I mean, I know he referenced it in a song.
It's a Beatles thing. The late Beatles, they started doing it for John Lennon and Paul McCartney in their solo shows. I'll have to find it, and I'll find it and post it to you, tag you in it, Dan. But yeah, that goes back to John Lennon and Paul McCartney, and because of something. It's something that, like, one of the people that was attending, they weren't deaf, but they were mute. And that was the only way that they could, show.
Understood.
Now it all makes sense, don't it?
Yeah.
Of course, now, today, it's not lighters.
Elon Musk flamethrowers.
Nope.
Cell phone flashlights.
You see it all. Plus, it don't get hot. You ever try to put one of them big lighters back in your pocket after it's been burning for 2 minutes?
Evidently, I have reinforced pockets. Although I was impressed with how well I was able to see the very famous Yes laser It's not like Pink Floyd, believe me. It's just one green beam. But that was because I was up in the nosebleed seats and smoke rose to the top of the arena. Boy, I drove slow on the way home from that concert in Atlanta that night.
Excuse me, sir, have you been drinking at night? No, I just got back from the S concert. Is there a problem, officer? Yes, you were driving 5 miles an hour.
Is that unsafe? Well, it wouldn't be if you got off the sidewalk.
Well, the people in the shopping mall are a bit upset.
Hey, the lighting's better here. I can see where I'm going.
We lost Zach.
We did.
Yeah. Oh, he's got to jump on another call about a tip stream stuff. He'll try to be back.
Oh, okay.
And now you see how scatterbrained I am. I'm able to multitask even better than I normally do.
When I was cleaning out my uncle's apartment a few years back, he had a bunch of smoking paraphernalia in his apartment. And I didn't need any of it, except he had flints and Ronson lighter fluid. But I left it in the back of the Explorer for about 1.5 years. And the nice thin bottle slowly expanded in the heat in the back of the truck.
Ooh.
Well, still somehow managing to keep part of its contents liquid.
That would have made a mess.
Could have been several messes of various degrees of severity.
Actually, where I had it, it wouldn't have made a mess. I had a spot in my truck just for things like brake fluid and oil and, battery grease and stuff like that. So.
Oh. Oop. There goes another roll of thunder.
I thought you were going to say toilet paper.
No. We buy that in bulk. When you're married, when you get an 18-pack of toilet paper rolls, you might get 2 of them yourself out of that, but they're still going to be used up in a hurry.
Did I tell y'all back in 2019 when the COVID thing first hit, the day everybody started hoarding toilet paper, coincidentally, was the day I went to Costco. I hadn't heard anything about hoarding toilet paper until I got to Costco, went to the back to pick up a thing. It just so happens we needed a thing of toilet paper. And I went back there and there's no toilet paper. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's hoarding toilet paper. Everybody's hoarding toilet paper. Why is everybody hoarding toilet paper? I said, because of the COVID thing. And I got thinking about it. Yeah, if you got the flu, you're going to need toilet paper. I didn't think that much about it. I went to Walmart. Walmart still had plenty of toilet paper. So I got a big thing of toilet paper. And when I got home, I called Mom, said, hey, you heard people are hoarding toilet paper. She goes, no. Says, you need to go out and get you some toilet paper before all this hits. And it literally, in the 2 hours that all this happened to me, there was no more toilet paper.
Mm.
No. And
I remember when we went to the local small grocery store at the county seat. Right after the news hit, walked in there, the meat department was totally empty.
Ooh.
People had bought everything, even chicken liver.
Hey, that's good stuff.
It's good for fish bait.
Oh, I love fried chicken livers, man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Chicken meat, same with me, Dan. But chicken gizzards, I'll fight you over some chicken gizzards.
Ingalls had, and this just kind of shocked me because I didn't see it. They had beef kidneys.
Mm.
And I had
Bacon
never
kidney
heard.
pie.
I had never heard of using beef kidney in kidney pie. I've heard of sheep kidney, but I'd never heard of beef kidney. So I was tempted, but I did not get it because I have been wanting to make a kidney pie.
Lindsay will occasionally buy liver because she misses liver and onions from England. And I go, it's all yours, baby.
Now, see, I like liver and onion. I like that. I will eat any food if it's prepared properly. So,
I have only ever been able to tolerate liver of any beast in my mom's stuffing and Thanksgiving dressing. She chops it up very small. I mean, I don't need to even reiterate how many spankings I got for not eating fried liver when it was put on the table in front of me as a child.
Well, you know what that comes from, don't you?
I think it was calves. But
No.
yeah.
Do you know why our generation ate all the liver? Why they were cooking so much liver?
I think it was probably a holdover from World War II and the Great Depression.
Yep, exactly. Because that was shit nobody else was going to eat.
You know where the Boston butt pork roast comes from, don't you?
A cow.
It's pork roast, not.
No, in Boston, whenever they butchered a hog, everybody wanted the ham and the bacon, of course. And nobody wanted the shoulder because they thought shoulder roast was too tough and such like that. So these butchers would get butt barrels, which is about a half a ton. They would pack it with these roasts and snow or ice, whatever. And then eventually they'd load them on a ship them down the coast to North Carolina, South Carolina, where the poor people and slaves, they would sell them to poor people and slaves, and they're the ones who invented barbecue with the Boston butt pork roast.
Well, I think pirates had a hand in inventing barbecue too.
But the reason they called it a Boston butt pork roast is the barrels would be remarked Boston, butt, which was the size of the barrel, and then pork roast. So, which is funny because it doesn't come out of the butt of the pig, it's a shoulder. So, the ham's the butt. So
Well, in Victorian era, when they would throw the big parties, if a guest was not welcome,
I saw
they would be served a cold piece of meat, which was usually the shoulder, which was the toughest, worst piece. So that's where they gave them the cold shoulder.
Giving someone the cold shoulder. Since they would show up at a party, they'd do something stupid, and the host of the party would politely serve them a cold piece of meat to let them know you're not welcome here anymore. And
But yeah, Joe, you're awful quiet.
I'm just letting you guys talk.
well, he's been cleaning that damn living room all day.
Exactly.
Look at that ceiling. That's a hell of a lot of dusting right there.
I was out on the job site today. We had concrete pour, so
I'll tell you, if anybody in construction earns their money more, it would be the concrete finishers.
oh yeah, 100%.
The concrete guy, yes, but my heart goes out to the rebar guy. That's not an easy job. You know,
Well, if you see what they've got now to tie rebar, John, It's
Yeah, but a lot of them don't have that little automatic tire. They still tie by hand.
I've been,
Plus, they shouldn't move the rebar by themselves, especially if it's long pieces. They're not allowed to drag it across the ground.
because that rubs the finish off of it
Yep.
and
They'll rub
causes it to rust. And
depending on how badly the contractor's pissing me off, I'll look at him and go, hey,
Ooh.
y'all need to run down to the hardware store, get some green epoxy paint. For what? You need to paint up the ends of these. Because every once in a while, you'll get them from the factory where they've been cut. They got the whole bar epoxied except for the
end.
The end where the face side of it.
You know, the U.S. basically kicked China out of the Panama Canal Zone, right?
Yeah.
You heard about this? There was some Chinese company that was trying to buy up the management of the Panama Canal. The United States went and talked to Panama and said, no way. Today, according to the AFP, Panama deal allows U.S. to deploy troops to canal. So we may be taking back over our old digs back down in Panama.
Taking our ditch back, damn it.
Which, you know, one of those bases, the big base that the U.S. Army used to occupy down there were several, but the big one they occupied is a college now. So I'm curious as to how that's going to work.
Well, I opened the office door to go down the hallway, and there was a cat-sized and shaped streak of lightning running down the hallway towards me. Turns out Billy No Mates has not been happy about being nudged away from the cat food bowl that I keep back here by Hillary and Violet. So they're both on the bed asleep, and he saw his chance and just zipped past the dog and down the hall and damn near knocked me down. If you can hear any crunching noises, that's him. I lead an
So did y'all see
interesting life.
the footage from that helicopter crash up in New York?
No, I saw that it had happened, but I haven't seen any footage yet.
Oh, it was apparently, they're not really sure, but from the footage that somebody took, apparently it looks like the rotors, one of them either broke or all of them broke. You know, that one breaks, they all start going, and took the tail off the helicopter.
Oops.
So this thing had no rotor blades and no tail, meaning the pilot was cargo at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
no
pilot
lift and no
became passenger.
stabilization.
And it came in like a rock and hit the water. And at the speed it was going, you know, water's like concrete. So it's 6 people on board. No one survived it. So, but if you get a chance, and you know, if you don't see it on the news, go to YouTube. They got some pretty good videos of it. But I mean, that thing just half a helicopter came out of the sky, and they saw like blades and tail pieces falling. That's why I'm thinking one of the rotor blades collapsed, or yeah, there's so many things that can go wrong with the rotor. It's hard to tell what would have taken the tail off the helicopter.
I bet you it was maintenance. Bad maintenance.
Well, that's what's going to get blamed, no matter what it was. I would suspect the speed those things turn, metal fatigue.
No, they think it may have been they were flying the helicopter in very windy conditions. It was if the wind gets too powerful, you're not supposed to fly the helicopter, and they were like right here. And if the wind had, you know, gotten a little more powerful, they wouldn't have been able to fly. So it was pushing it. So they think a gust of wind may have collapsed the rotor blade.
Now, you know, John, Chattanooga has helicopter tours now.
You ever see me on one of them?
You seen me on one? I don't fly on egg beaters.
I wouldn't mind. I've flown on them before, and they're fine and everything like that. It's just that there's just something about rednecks and helicopters that really don't go together that well.
Whee! It's Dan. It looks like
the United States Army's helicopter school at Fort Rucker, Alabama, is right outside Dothan, Alabama. So,
I have a very good friend who was born there.
Dan. The helicopter tour here in Chattanooga. It's the same type of helicopter as Consuela.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Hmm.
John, I got a question to ask you about Fort Benning. Were you at Fort Benning?
I went to basic training at Fort Benning.
Bunker 17
does not compute. No.
Supposedly it's haunted. Nobody is allowed to be in Bunker 17 after dark without another person and a vehicle propping the door open.
I have never heard of this. Let me look that up, see if that's Fort Benning, Georgia.
Said something about at one time some guys were sent in there for
Bunker 7.
Yeah. Do inventory, and they somehow got locked in there, and it seals tight, and they all died at 3:17. And if you go in there and you're at night, your watch stops at 3:17.
I am not seeing anything on the internet about it. Where are you getting this info?
It was one of those haunted ghost story things. Well, it's the guy that tells the he does the YouTube shorts about all sorts of different things.
You try Haunted Bunker in case you got the number wrong.
Yeah.
Lore Lodge?
Haunted Fort Benning, another spooky tale. Now, you do know that Fort Benning is down near Andersonville, which is the old Civil War Confederate.
Yes, I know all about Andersonville. Thank you. You thought your lighter was tough. I could weld with that damn thing, and there's no valve to turn it down.
Okay. They got Creek Indians back in 1781, and apparently that's where the ghost stories start. You see. Apparently here's an interesting tidbit. There's the old Indians that were there. Let me see. There was a colonel there called Colonel John Tate, married into the Indian chief's family. Then when he died, they buried him on Wolf Oaks Hill, which is on what is now known as Riverside. It's the home of Fort Benning's commanding generals since 1919. So all the generals are living on an Indian burial ground.
I've seen that movie. No.
You see, the Phantom Rider who goes around stealing cars. Yeah, that's Rangers right there. That ain't no ghost.
That's not a ghost.
that's drunken Rangers. I guarantee it. Tate has been the ghost of Tate has been known to hang out at Building 35. Now I have heard of that one. It's but Building 35 is not there anymore. They bulldozed all that stuff back right after I got out of basic training. So I see nothing about a bunker. But
okay, well,
if you can find it, post it.
I will if I can come across it again.
Hmm.
'Cause,
All right,
you know,
I'm hearing lots and lots of thunder, but no lightning flashes that I can see, so it must be fairly decent distance from me.
it's stealth lightning. It's black lightning. You can't see it in the dark.
I did not need to know that, John. Uh,
It's antimatter lightning. Ooh, there's a sci-fi trope for you. What happened to the town of Pittsburgh? Antimatter lightning strike. Okay, it's the whole.
I'll have to find that on YouTube also. Somebody did a millisecond by millisecond description of being struck by lightning. It's bad.
Ooh.
Mm,
Nice little black flame you got there.
It's an antimatter lighter. That's why I don't smoke cigars anymore. That's, there's a James Bond weapon for you.
surprised they didn't try and use it on Castro. Anti-miter cigar.
It's a napalm. You know that he always had the little bomb gizmos, you know, pins and watches and stuff like that. Flamethrower lighter. That's what they need.
Mm.
Goes to light a cigarette, points it at somebody's face. And, yeah.
Is it true that they're no longer going to do any James Bond movies?
Probably not.
Well, I mean, I know they've run out of Ian Fleming stories a long time ago.
I have a great idea for a James Bond series, but it's Tales of Felix Leiter, and it's part spy adventure but part comedy.
Okay.
And who I wanted to get to be in it, I wanted Idris Elba to play the older Felix Leiter, who is now in charge. He works for the CIA training new agents. And when he's teaching these classes to all these spies that are being brought in, he talks about his old missions. And I wanted to have, was it Crispin,
Crispin, I do believe.
Is it Danny Glover's kid?
I don't know.
Played,
Oh, shit.
I can never remember his first name.
Little Gambino.
Played Lando Calrissian in the Solo movie.
Oh, okay, the young one.
The young one. I wanted to get him to play the younger Felix Leiter. And when they did the flashbacks, he goes back. And the whole story is about how he goes out on these missions, and some of them are just his missions, but a lot of them are the classic him and James Bond working together missions. And I wanted to get Henry Cavill to play James Bond for this series. But it turns out in real life, James Bond was constantly screwing up and getting captured and all sorts of stuff like this. And Felix Leiter was rescuing him. And when they both, like, James Bond would go back to MI6, Felix Leiter would go back to CIA, and they'd file their reports, and their reports were totally different. And so all the Ian Fleming stories about James Bond is basically James Bond trying to pad his resume. And basically the whole story is about Felix Leiter going, man, why do I have to keep working with that British guy, man? You know, it's like
John, there's your story. Write it. That's what Dan tells me.
Really? I mean, hey, do we have to Keisha you?
probably because my keyboard's going out. And,
There are other keyboards.
I'll send you one.
it's for a laptop. I ain't got space for it right now. So. But I do have my dad's old computer. So of course, knowing my dad, it runs on Windows XP or something.
Hey, that way it's the best. That way nobody can
Nobody can give a shit.
Yeah, nobody writes anything to attack it anymore. Just never do an update on it.
I've been looking into I've been toying around with the idea of getting Linux.
It's an operating system.
Heck,
Yeah, Joe knows exactly what I'm talking about, don't you, Mr. Bachman?
I do.
It
I need to get a different keyboard for my mini computer so I can access the Linux drive on it.
See, now the thing is, Linux can run a word processor just fine and get on the internet. So,
John, I would say look into the there's a keyboard Bluetooth to 3 different sources, so you could use it for your laptop, your phone,
Bluetooth mouse. Yeah, yeah. I thought about getting one. I thought about getting one for the TV actually.
Yeah,
because we have computer internet keyboards.
However, you can never spill anything whatsoever on it. Otherwise, you're out $40.
I have bought this thing in Iraq last time I was there. It's a flexible, waterproof keyboard. It looks like what they used to have at McDonald's for the cash registers. Yeah. But what was really interesting in it, what got my attention, is it's written in English and Arabic.
Huh.
Well, technically it's Arabic English. I mean, it's not exactly. It is Arabic, but it's not exactly Arabic. So it's.
Well, I was seeing something the other day that they're going to try to make America stop using Arabic numbers.
That's like the joke about the metric clock.
You know, more I think about it, them damn pirates.
You can't make a metric clock because the Earth is not metric. Clocks are based on the Earth's rotation. The Earth does not rotate metrically. It's, no matter what the French want it to do.
Yeah, Joe, we would be on the metric system if it wasn't for a bunch of damn pirates.
And World War II.
Yeah.
And World War II.
And World War II. Because the United States bumped up its production capability to help build all the weapons, not just for America, but for Canada and Britain and France, Russia, and all these other countries we were supporting. And to build all the rifles and tanks and uniforms and aircraft and ships and all this sort of stuff, you have to have nuts, bolts, nails, screws, rivets, all that other stuff. And to use all that stuff, you have to have hammers, screwdrivers, wrenches, sockets, and all the other tools you have to have. And of course, our industry for making tools was all based on the imperial system, inches and partial inches. So we literally had to make billions of tools to make the millions of weapons that we used for World War II. Of course, after the war, we literally had billions of tools laying around worldwide, not just in the United States, but we left tools everywhere. And
there are a few tools I wish we'd left a little further away from the U.S.
Now we have a tool for president. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Oh, your taxes are going to be misfiled next year, no matter what you do.
All I'm going to say is look up the term echolalia.
I know that one. Used to have a guy in school that was doing that.
Is that like a ukulele? A little bitty guitar?
Echo. Echolalia. Echo, L-A, Leah, like L-I-A.
Basically, this guy would repeat what you said as fast as you could say it.
Basically, this guy would repeat what you said as fast as you could say it.
While you were saying it.
And it's also a sign when you keep repeating a phrase in your speech.
Thought that was advertising.
Not every time.
It's a mental disorder.
No, it was really hard to have a conversation with this guy because you'd be hearing your own words come back at you just about the same millisecond as you spoke them. And then you had to wait for his brain to go, oh, a reply needs to be formulated.
My science teacher hated me for doing that. She kept, because I wouldn't look at her while she was giving her class, she accused me of not paying attention. So I started doing that to her.
Oh, no, that's a standard skill is to be able, even if you're not paying attention, to be able to repeat the last 2 or 3 paragraphs of anything somebody said to you flawlessly. That comes from a severe fear of being paddled. Unless you're into that sort of thing, in which case you just pretend you don't know what anybody said at any given time.
Like the parents that found the S&M magazine under their 13-year-old son's mattress. Didn't know whether to paddle him or not.
Pretty much, yeah.
Exactly, Dan. Or Carl.
Hey, he's taller than I am. How can you get us mixed up? I know I need to trim my beard, but he's way taller than I am.
Dan, I'll hold on. I'll put this in the private chat.
Oh, must be bad. I wanted to show y'all something because this is cool as hell. There is one of the Channel Islands. I want to say it's Guernsey Island in England, well, off the coast of England. They had a bunch of fortifications built during World War II, and this is one of the observation towers on the island. Which it never got bombed or anything like that, but it's still in good shape. And you can go on D-Day tours, and this is one of the tours, beaches of Normandy and stuff like that. And I got to look at it. That is a darn cool look. I mean, it looks like something from Easter Island. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Or a house in California.
Frank Lloyd Wrong.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a lot of old, it's kind of interesting. They've got like pre-Victorian era fortresses on the corners of the island that have been modified to be World War II bunkers and fortifications and gun positions, stuff like that. But from a distance, it looks like an old castle.
Okay,
on
private chat.
Okay. On some of the canals, yeah, that'll happen.
Joe likes the idea.
I don't care who likes the idea. I don't. What? Why would I want to? Why would I want to cosplay somebody when they were about 13?
China condemns U.S. Taiwan deal for F-16 fighter jets. No kidding.
Well,
Isn't the
considering there's
F-16 the only fighter we won't sell to any other nation?
No. We sell it to all sorts of people. I think the only one we haven't sold is the F-22.
Or okay, well, it's mainly to keep Iran from getting. Oh, the F-14.
The F-14, the only country still operating the F-14 is Iran. So.
Well, there's one that's never successfully been shot down.
15.
And I don't remember, 16?
F-15. Well, the F-15, the F-22, and I don't think that they've shot down an F-35 yet either. So.
Well, those the last two are both brand new.
I don't know if
F-15's been in service for a long time, and it can take some punishment and still keep flying.
Hey, even the F-35 struggle in combat situations to hit the 15.
The F-15 right now is technically the fastest fighter jet the United States has. Technically, because we don't know the actual top speed of the F-22s and F-35s.
Mm-mm.
Because they're still kind of
Well,
fast.
you know, they have said the F-22 can go supersonic without the burners.
I think an F-15 can do that too, but they like using the afterburners like F-15. Punch the. It's like the Mandalorian with Grogu after he got the Naboo starfighter.
Yeah.
Grogu had the little metal thing and kept tapping on the window, and he goes, "No, we're not doing it again." You're tap 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 tap. No, we're not doing it again. Tap 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 tap. Okay, one last time. He reached up, hit the turbo, boing. And you hear Grogu in the back going, yes!
I think Grogu has aged only about 4 days through the series, right?
Oh no, he's been. They've had him in the series for 6 months or so.
I think Mandalorian took place over the course of a couple years, technically.
Yeah, but he's only aged about 4 days.
Well, it's a very long-lived species.
Yeah, he was 50 years old when he started. So
yeah.
The bad part is, by the time this kid learns to talk, he's going to be, eligible for Social Security.
Mm-hmm. He'll be eligible for Social Security. Mando will be nothing but bones, and
and most of the Empire will be a distant memory.
Mando had the spear, the Beskar steel spear, turned into that little Beskar steel chainmail shirt just for Grogu. Can you imagine a Jedi with a lightsaber and a chainmail shirt that a lightsaber cannot go through?
Mithril.
Pretty much, yeah.
And a bunch of
Sith
everywhere just got instantly hard.
Space Hobbit. Oh my God.
What'd you say, Joe?
I said a bunch of Sith Lords just got instantly hard, and they're not sure why. A chainmail shirt that a lightsaber can't go through.
I did wonder about that, though, is that Mandalorian, the armor, the blacksmith for the Mandalorians, she's like also a religious figure. And she said something about Beskar steel is for armor, not for weapons.
Yeah, but I thought for like his little, what do they call them, the stingers, the little mini thing. I thought those were made out of Beskar.
Just the tip.
Which would make them armor piercing, but
for normal armor.
I think we call that stuff titanium on this planet.
Well, titanium is not any tougher than steel. It just handles heat better.
And it's lighter.
Yeah.
Well, Adrian got a titanium bathtub.
Well,
there are a lot of aircraft that have titanium bathtubs. A-10's one. The Hind D attack helicopter, and I think the subsequent attack helicopters also have it. Soviet helicopters.
I love. Did you see the fat electrician talking about the Hind helicopter?
No.
Russia was giving America hell. We've got the greatest helicopter ever. This is, we'll take out anything. It's the best. It's the best helicopter ever. All this. So the Black Knights went in and stole one. Flew it back to America. It now sits in in Huntsville in the Air Museum because it's a piece of shit and people are afraid to fly it now.
Well, they've been around since the late 60s, early 70s. I mean, it's not. They're almost as old as the Huey. Let me put it that way. And the Army quit using Hueys 20, 30 years ago. So,
yeah.
Mm.
Oh, John, did you see where the Medal of Honor Museum just opened a new exhibit? One of the pilot that did one of the most craziest Vietnam extractions was from Signal Mountain. He flew a Cobra. And there was the 6 guys pinned down. So he flew in a Cobra, took out the enemy, and flew these 6 guys out, hanging on the pods and the landing skids.
Yes, I've heard of this one. And there's the one where the 2 special forces pilots, I think it's 2, got stuck on this hill. And the Apache pilot went in and they dropped the maintenance hatches on either side of the avionics for the Apache gunship. And they took their belts and ran them through the support rods that held the hatch in place and sat on the hatches and flew back on the sides of the Apache. And apparently the U.S. Army was so impressed with it that they modified the hatches to carry more weight. Just in case somebody ever going to do that again.
It's never a war crime the first time.
Thank you, Canada.
Oh no! I've been watching Nick the Fat Electrician for years now, and that's one of his catchphrases.
You know what they say? The reason they have to put a warning sign on it is because somebody tried to do it. So.
Yeah, it's not exactly got a written rule against it. You might want to look into that if you want to modify the rules, but technically we weren't not supposed to shoot that thing.
Well, that's like Jeff Foxworthy talking about warning labels. I think I'll shave in the fireplace. Because shaving cans do not use around fire or open flames, heat or open flames. I think I'll go shave in the fireplace.
Okay. I was in the military. We've had to shave early in the morning by candlelight. Okay. And shaving cream propellant may or may not be flammable.
I would think someone has done the research right now to find out.
Thank God for glow sticks. Okay,
oh, you said glow sticks. That reminds me. I don't have them anymore, but when we'd go do our ghost hunting stuff, I found IR glow sticks.
Yeah. Military has them. The one that freaked me out, though, the military glow stick, I can understand. It's cool, and it'll light up a whole valley.
Yeah.
If you're wearing night vision goggles, you'd be surprised how much light that thing puts out. But the one that freaked me out my first tour in Iraq, I didn't know they had these. They had infrared aerial flares for the artillery. You'd hear them fire. And what are they firing at? And you'd hear off in the distance. A few seconds later, you hear the pop of the illumination flare opening. And if you looked real close to where it went off, you could see the sparks coming off the flare, but you couldn't see the flare. So then you pick up your night vision goggles, and the whole 10 grid square area would be lit up. And you're like, that, holy crap.
Good night, Carl.
Good night, Carl.
Good night, Carl.
Yeah.
I didn't know they could do that with flares. So
that's why we're the best night fighting.
Because we had the best flashlights.
Yeah.
To quote George Clooney, that's why we're going to win. We have the best flashlights.
All right, my turn to go.
We only got what? Well, when you got to go, you got to go.
I know, but it's still like, oh yeah, that's right. He's cutting us down to an hour and a half, isn't he?
Right. So
Okay. Another
15
12 minutes or so when the counter clicks over. Yeah. Let me get mine started up here. Do not know how long I will let it run. We do have to go to lawyer's office tomorrow morning to finalize our wills. So yeah, and once again, if I wind up by myself, it will be real short and I can go to bed. If I can sleep. You'd think after cutting myself down from 10 cups of coffee a day to 2, I wouldn't be staying up so late at night, but sleeping without alarm clocks means that sometimes I don't wake up till the crack of noon.
Good night, Donna.
Good night, Donna. Good night, Carl. Good night, Mrs. McGillicuddy, wherever you are. Yes, I'm old enough to watch Red Skelton live. I better cut back on the rum, otherwise Lindsay's going to be really paranoid in the morning when it's time for us to leave.
Well, I am too.
You're going to be paranoid in the morning when it's time for us to leave.
Yeah. No, I watched Red Skelton too. One of his best ones is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of the Pledge of Allegiance, yeah. You know how you've been playing the national anthem thing at the start of the show?
Yeah.
And you had to find the one that was free to use or something like that?
Yeah.
If you go on YouTube and look up U.S. Army Band, U.S. Marine Corps Band, Navy, or any of those are free to use. Because your taxes paid for it. I believe they're public domain. I don't think they have a recording contract. So.
Yeah, but somebody will claim it.
Well, what you do is you go to Space Force and find the Space Force synthesizer band. And you do
that way nobody below orbit can claim it.
It sounds like the theme from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Hello, Chris.
Hey, Chris. And then it all went silent.
Yes, I'm just sitting here going, well, it hasn't been a long day, but it's been a busy day.
No, I got heartburn and I'm trying to burp everything up real quick. Trying to burp it up without puking it up.
Mm.
You know, Olive Garden does put a lot of spaghetti in their spaghetti and meatballs.
Yeah.
And eating 4 pounds of salad before then, it's not good either.
4 pounds of salad?
They do have a good salad.
Did you really need that much roughage in your diet? I mean, seriously, 2 bites of a Taco Bell taco would have done that.
Well, you know, it comes in that bowl, you know, about that wide and that
That's
deep.
supposed to serve 6 people.
It's just me and her, and I'd demolish it. And they bring me another bowl. They're like, how can you eat that much salad? Easy. Stick my fork in, stick it in my mouth, chew, swallow, repeat.
For hours.
There's times that I'll get their salad and I can do the same thing. I will just devour that salad. And then there's other times it's just there's something off about it and I'm not sure what.
They don't put enough dressing on it.
That's why you tell your wife to keep a bottle of ranch dressing in her purse.
No, Olive Garden dressing is just absolutely amazing. It's an Italian style. The guy walked up with a little cranky cheese thing. He says, tell me when. And I said, all right. He stopped. I said, no, keep going. I said, all right, I'll let you know.
You need to give that guy a break and bring your electric drill with you. Attach it to the handle. And
I'll
do this while you go get another block of cheese. And
there's something that one of the Portuguese YouTubers that I watch has learned from Cowboy Kent, and they'll get a battery operated drill and put a mixer blade in it and go, hey, spoon ain't cutting it today. Oh, Lord.
I love watching the British people react to Cowboy Kent.
Uh-huh.
On the chilies and like, God, beans and chili?
Spices in food? Conquer the world for spices and then never use any. I keep getting onto my wife for that. She goes, hey, salt and pepper. I'm going, honey, there's other things besides salt and pepper.
Garlic salt.
Paprika. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. I mean, I grew up with the deviled eggs as being a staple any holiday of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Appetizer. So, yeah. Smoked paprika, definitely.
I never can understand. I can't eat more than about 3 or 4 boiled eggs. I go through a dozen of the deviled eggs.
It's just because they're cut in half and you just kind of never stop. As long as the plate's got some in it. I can remember several family reunions when they had to make second and third pots of deviled eggs. because they disappeared in a hurry, especially when you've got about 10 sets of aunts and uncles and all of their children, and might be 75 people at a family reunion. Tell it to England, Chris. That was my point.
Quit talking about John's family spaghetti recipe.
Ooh.
Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme.
I don't believe we've got a family recipe. I mean, I know the one that my mom made, and I know that I have enhanced that myself. And my sister may have done so as well. My sister-in-law, I don't remember ever having spaghetti at their house. But wouldn't turn it down. Yes, Scarborough Fair.
When my mom passed away, she took a lot of her recipes with her.
Mhm.
We found her recipes. She did write them down.
My dad had all my grandma's recipes.
Guess where she put them? On the back of our baby pictures.
Oh,
Ooh.
So we didn't know. That's her way of giving them to us. Because she knew my dad would eventually give us all our kid pictures. But she had them separated into boxes with our names on them. That's slick, ain't it? But that's slick, ain't it?
Oh, yeah.
We now have our sweet potato casserole recipe. And my sisters are furious.
All I know is every time I write a recipe down, the file seems to be confiscated by the internet somehow. I can never find it again.
Oh, that's not good.
I've even searched dead computers.
That's why you got to put it on paper, Dan.
I'm trying.
You write it out on your word pad, print.
And also I have, when I have done something recently and someone asks me about it and I have written it down, I will email it to them for posterity. Although the Southern U.S. measurement system of that's enough, child, your ancestors have spoken. It doesn't translate well into other languages. But,
Oh. Well, we got about 2.5 minutes.
Yep.
yeah, I'm going to have to have an emergency application of ibuprofen, or no, acetaminophen. No, not 1,000 milligrams, please.
No,
that's
baby grand.
That's a full grand.
I know, but upset stomach is a thing.
Check out this medication that Donna got.
Excuse me.
What?
Those are lock nuts.
Yeah, she's been using them for years. Damn it.
Evidently not on the right hinge.
And Carl ain't here to go, that's not the green room.
No, I'm sitting here going, oh, she gonna hit me with her purse in October.
Is that a baby grand piano you've got there, Joe? Or is that the full?
Oh,
size?
that's a full grand.
That's what I was thinking.
I'll take you guys' word for it. I ain't got a clue.
I
You didn't
do.
even know it was back there, did you?
Well, I knew it was back there.
I can tell that it is not one particular brand of piano because the keyboard is standard size rather than another 2 octaves of keys added. So it's not a Bosendorfer. By God, if I could get my hands on one of those, I'd actually want to learn how to play piano.
It's probably a Steinway.
It probably is, or
Yamaha.
At least it's not a Henway.
How much is the Henway?
About 8-10 pounds.
And on that note, good night, folks.
It is that time, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
Let's
Yep.
say good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. And
My outro video's gone.
What?
I don't know what happened. Okay, I got it set. That's odd. All right.
I
Say
thought you
goodbye.
had this automated.
It
He
did.
did.
But,
I had to turn it off the other day because it didn't work right.
all right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
See ya.
I have slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.